We're continuing to track the increasing division between Donald Trump and the major MAGA-adjacent podcasters like Joe Rogan, Tim Dillon, Andrew Schultz of the Flagrant Podcast, Theo Von, and others who helped sanitize and launder him during the 2024 campaign cycle. And in the case of some, they eventually openly endorsed and supported and voted for him. Joe Rogan's the biggest podcaster in the world, and he's become increasingly critical of the Trump administration once Donald Trump did the eminently predictable thing and started governing like a thin-skinned authoritarian. Rogan has still not disavowed Trump the way that Andrew Schultz has, or Tim Dillon has, for example, or Dave Smith, but he is increasingly critical of Trump's authoritarian overreach. And in the examples I want to provide, Rogan blasts Trump for the prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey, as well as the Trump administration's efforts to suppress and silence and censor Jimmy Kimmel.
Greetings to you all. Welcome to Red Ninja Network. I'm Mr. Red. Joe Rogan has been kind of chummy with Donald Trump lately. I believe that the reason why he hasn't completely disavowed Trump is because he wants to be able to keep that communication line open to be able to do the things that he wants to do. He knows that he can push certain things that he wants to push. And recently, we saw that Joe Rogan actually pushed some legislation for Trump to sign. Basically, Joe Rogan wanted Donald Trump to push for more studies to be done on the effects of psychedelics in helping people. And so I don't believe that Joe Rogan wants to close the door to Trump because he knows that it's a powerful way for him to, get things done.
Did you notice Joe Rogan's expression? He was almost overwhelmed by the stench. Recently, Trump signed an executive order aimed at encouraging expanded research into psychedelic drugs. Joe Rogan and Brian Hubbard were invited to attend. Many netizens noticed their unusual behavior. At the beginning of the meeting, everyone seemed to be in high spirits, but Trump appeared to be very uncomfortable. He kept adjusting his posture as if something was about to burst out. At this moment, an indescribable odor filled the entire office. Rogan, standing behind Trump, was the first to feel it. He pursed his lips, trying to suppress the discomfort, but it didn't work. Rogan was almost overwhelmed by the stench.
People like Joe Rogan kind of make me sick, because the other thing I'm going to show you today is that Trump's policies, Trump's administration, there's so many crooked and underhanded things that they're doing right now that if you continue to still follow him, then that tells me that you're not worried about how it affects others as much as you're worried about what you can get out of it yourself for your own benefit and causes while Americans suffer. Listen, we have much to discuss. Let's drop in. Let's get after it.
Surprising that they're still not releasing it.
Here's what's crazy. No arrests, no one's like being brought in. Meanwhile, Comey is getting arrested for a photo of seashells that say 8647.
He's getting arrested for that?
Yeah,
What's
he's getting charged.
What's 8647?
86, get rid of. President 47.
But you could say kill. But 86 is, if you get fired, what happened to Mike? He got 86th.
Right.
It doesn't mean you got killed. But this is a crazy thing to arrest someone for.
Of course.
FBI arrested in Virginia. Appears briefly in court.
Well, they already had it out for him.
I know,
They're just
but
looking for any excuse.
This is the problem with these 100%. Guys is it sets a crazy precedent.
Yeah,
that's the precedent. That's the worst. Like, that's crazy.
That's the crazy one.
FBI you went after me? Well, now we're going after you for nothing. It doesn't matter.
It's nuts. Like, you're going after someone for something that's just silly.
It's
8647 is get rid of 47.
Right. Free speech.
But it's just like arresting a guy for that is nuts.
This is the problem that I have with people like Joe Rogan, because him and his bros just get to sit around on camera and like, oh, this is messed up. But why is it that you think that's messed up? He also went after Letitia James. He also went after, other people. And so you're speaking out about this 8647, realizing how petty and vindictive this man is. But this is the same man who locked kids in cages, and you all didn't have a problem with that when you voted for him or when you endorsed him. Y'all didn't have a problem with that shit. Again, I keep coming back to the kids in cages thing because that right there is a whole different level of cruelty right there. They didn't even care. The cruelty has always been the point. The cruelty is what we've talked about. And this is exactly what Hillary Clinton, this is exactly what Kamala Harris said that Trump would do if he was allowed to be in office, that he would go after his political opponents. Hell, the Republican Party did it with Hunter Biden's laptop. Yet all the corruption that's going on right now in the Trump administration, and they turn a blind eye to all of that stuff. But when it comes to going after Comey for just saying 86, 86 means to kick out, to never bring back again. I used to work in a restaurant, and we talked about 86 people. We didn't talk about taking them out, even though it could mean that. But just the ambiguity in that discussion is what makes it where you can't even bring that shit in a courtroom because it's ambiguous. In theory, it wouldn't hold. There's a free speech element, which quote unquote free speech, First Amendment. I thought Republicans were all about the First Amendment. And yet you have this thin-skinned man who can't take any type of criticism. If it's against him, then it's a bad thing. Other presidents had those type of criticisms. Other people said some of the most disgusting stuff about Obama, yet Obama didn't go after his political opponents because that is a tenet of a democracy. A dictator wants to go after the people that speak up against them. That's how you know what type of government that you're in. But I'm going to show you some clips to show you how bad this thing really is and why the Joe Rogans of the world need to wake the hell up, because it's always been right there in front of our faces.
I want to call everyone's attention again to this fundraising email signed by the president that Senator Kelly mentioned earlier, in which the president of the United States invites his campaign donors to, quote, claim your spot, join now to receive private national security briefings, to his political donors, featuring a photo of the president at a dignified transfer ceremony with a flag-draped coffin of an American service member killed in action returning to their family. And the American people need to know that the President of the United States is fundraising for his political campaign and his PAC using images of American service members killed in action, and it's a disgrace.
You gotta be a special kind of fuck to cut the VA and then start a fucking war. If you are a Trumper, or you consider yourself part of the GOP that voted for him, you do not care about the troops. You don't give a fuck about veterans. You don't give a, that's, for me, that's how I personally feel, right? Unless you're willing to get up, speak out, and say something about this.
You guys remember Hunter Biden's laptop? Oh yeah, well, let's get into this one. Nathan Jun made a good video, really good video actually. You should go check it out. He made a chart showing Hunter Biden, how much he made during his dad's vice presidency, not presidency, vice presidency, because this is when the laptop scandal came about. Nancy Pelosi's husband, over since 1978, how much he's made, compared to what the Trump family has made just this 12-month fiscal cycle. 12 months, they've made nearly $4 billion. And the same people who are supporting this are against these two, who made less than 10% combined of what the entire family has made. And different things that, like, let's say signing off on executive orders that would benefit the crypto markets. Because remember, American Bitcoin is owned by Eric Trump. And Jared Kushner is also one of the members of the Board of Peace, where they just got $10 billion from a lawsuit by suing their own DOJ.
I don't have a lot of sympathy for the Joe Rogans of the world. This man is really rich. He never has to worry about money ever again. The Andrew Schultz and all the people that spoke up and basically handed our democracy over to this tyrant. Basically galvanized people who aren't that smart. And they took that influence and they basically told them that Trump was the man, that Trump was going to be their guy. And so when I hear Joe Rogan speak out on Donald Trump now, it's soft, again, because he doesn't want to burn those bridges. So if you're going to have soft talking points against this man, this dictator, then it tells me that you're not really upset about the things that you should be. And that's what's wrong with our political discourse right now, because it's being held up by people who are part of this capitalist society. It's a part of people who are just spreading talking points and they're getting paid. They are paid opposition to democracy.
Watch this incel right-wing kid who used to be MAGA explain what the White House has been up to.
Immediately after the assassination attempt, it was literally every pro-Trump influencer on Twitter clearly got the memo. And I don't mean that in a manner of speaking. I don't mean that as a figure of speech. I mean, they literally got a memorandum. They're in a group chat. They're employed by one of these agencies, and they got sent the talking points and then money. I'll read a sampling. Andrew Colvett from Turning Point USA writes, "This is why President Trump needs to build the White House ballroom." Libs of TikTok says, "This is why we need Trump's ballroom." Jack Posobiec, "Thank God President Trump is building a ballroom at the White House." Wall Street Maverick, "We need the White House ballroom." Brylan Hollyhand, "Build the White House ballroom ASAP." Nick Adams, "Build the White House ballroom now." Randy Fine, "We'd better never hear a peep from anyone complaining about a White House ballroom." That's not a coincidence. That's not like they all had the same idea. All of these people are being paid.
There's a group that is paying all of these people to be on message and to continue to brainwash the masses. And so I don't believe when I hear Joe Rogan is turning against Trump. I don't believe none of these people, and neither should you. Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.